Hello students, hope you all are doing good. Today we are going to discuss about two topics, the growth of Puranic Hinduism and temple architecture. Puranic Hinduism means ancient or old Hinduism. So today we will try to understand the ideas that led to the development of different traditions which now are part of Hinduism. The notion of savior was not only in Buddhism but also became a part of Hinduism. It means savior यानी रक्षक का कंसेप्ट सिर्फ बुद्धिज्म में ही नहीं था बल्कि हिंदुइज्म में भी कुछ देवताओं को रक्षक यानी सेवियर माना गया. Brahminical religion underwent an important change. The Vedic gods became less important and their place was taken by a trinity of gods, that is, Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. During Gupta dynasty, Vishnu and Shiva emerged as most important gods of Hinduism. This led to the development of two traditions under Puranic Hinduism. These were Vaishnavism and Shaivism. Both the traditions emphasized worship of a chosen deity. In Vaishnavism, Vishnu was worshipped as the principal deity, and in Shaivism, Shiva was regarded as the chief god. गुप्ता डायनेस्टी के समय ब्रह्मा, विष्णु और शिव में विष्णु और शिव की इम्पोर्टेंस काफ़ी बढ़ गई, जिसके कारण दो इम्पॉर्टेंट ट्रेडिशंस का डेवलपमेंट हुआ जो हिंदुइज्म का पार्ट बने. वो थे वैष्णविज्म और शैविज्म. द रिलेशन बिटवीन द डिवोटी एंड द गॉड वॉज ऑफ लव एंड डिवोशन और भक्ति. वैष्णविज्म वॉज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड भगवतिज्म, सेंटर्ड अराउंड worship of Vishnu or Bhagavad. In Vedic times, Vishnu was a minor god representing sun and fertility cult. By 2nd century BCE, he was merged with a god called Narayan and came to be known as Narayan Vishnu. Narayan was supposed to bestow shares and good fortune on his worshippers. In return, worshippers offered their loving devotion and bhakti. Vishnu also came to be identical with legendary hero of Vishnu tribe living in West India who was known as Krishna Vasudev. So, by 200 BC, the worshippers and their gods Narayan, Vishnu and Vasudev Krishna merged into one. This resulted in creation of Bhagavatism or Vaishnavism. Bhagavad Gita became the main textbook of Bhagavatism. By Gupta times, Vaishnavism preached the doctrine of incarnation or avatar. Cults developed around the various avatars or incarnations of Vishnu. Cycle of 10 incarnations of Vishnu was recognized in the tradition. But why? It was believed that whenever social order faced crisis or whenever the world was threatened by disorder and destruction by evil forces, Vishnu appeared in an appropriate form to save the world. We come across an important verse in Mahabharata which also states Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharat abhyuthanam dharmasya तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहं परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाचाय दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. It means whenever there is decay of righteousness and wickedness prevails, I, that is Vishnu, manifest myself to establish order, to destroy evil and to save the good. I come from yug to yug, that is age to age. Different avatars became popular in different parts of the country. As a result, Each of the local god in different parts of country were recognized as a part of Vishnu. Thus, a more unified religious tradition was created. By 6th century, several texts popularized worship of Vishnu. The most important text was Bhagavad Puran. There are 10 incarnations or avatars of Vishnu. These avatars were mentioned for the first time in a textbook of 12th century CE entitled Geet Govind, written by Jayadev. These avatars have a proper sequence. Mentioned in Jayadev's Geet Govind, the incarnation of Kalki is yet to come in the form of a man mounted on a white horse with a flaming sword in his hand. A fertility god from the days of Harappan civilization became important. This was Lord Shiva, identified with Vedic god Rudra. The community of people who worshipped Shiva were called Shaivites, who followed the tradition of Shaivism. So, Shaivism is the branch of Hinduism that worships Shiva as a supreme deity. According to Shaivism, Shiva has three important forms: Rudra, a fierce and angry mood; Nataraj, the king of dance; and the Ling. Shiva, symbolized by Ling, and is also represented in human form. The ideas and the attributes of such deities was represented through various symbols like headdresses, ornaments, and ayudhas. Ayudhas means weapons or auspicious objects that deities hold in their hand. Example, त्रिशूल और चक्र। शिव, जिनका प्रतीक लिंग है, इन्हें ह्यूमन फॉर्म यानी मानव रूप में भी दिखाया गया है। इन देवताओं के गुणों को कई सिंबल्स के हेल्प से डिस्क्राइब किया गया है, जैसे इनके बालों के वस्त्र, गहने, शस्त्र और बैठने का तरीका। Many important rulers of ancient India like Kushanas, Guptas, Satavahanas and the Cholas were great worshippers of Shiva. They played a very important role in preserving and spreading the tradition of Shaivism. To understand the meaning of sculptures, historians have to know stories behind them. Many stories are found in Puranas. Puranas were compiled by Brahmins about middle of 1st century CE. These Puranas contain stories which have been in circulation for centuries about gods and goddesses. These Puranas were written in simple Sanskrit verse and loudly read to make women and Shudras hear, as they had no access to Vedic learning. Puranas evolved and grew through interaction among people like priests, merchants, and common people who shared their ideas while traveling from place to place. For example, Vasudev Krishna became important deity in Mathura region. During Gupta period, female deities, mostly of tribal origin, became important. For example, Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and wife of Vishnu; Parvati, the spouse of Shiva; or Durga, the consort of Shiva. Inclusion of large number of female deities into Brahminical pantheon led to the growth of Shakti cult. An image of Durga can be seen in Mahabalipuram of Tamil Nadu, made during 6th century CE. One of the significant development during the Gupta period was the beginning of Hindu temple. Various temples were built to house images of gods and goddesses, especially the image of Vishnu and Shiva. The Hindu temples which began in this period had following features: a small square room called Garbhagriha. It had a single doorway for the entry of worshippers. Later, a tall structure was built over the central shrine called Shikhar. Sculptures were used to decorate temple walls. Temple walls were decorated with sculptures. Later, many architectural features were added in the temple, and the temples were made more elaborate and intricate. The features which were added were assembly halls, huge walls, gateways, and arrangement for water supply. One unique feature of early temples was that some were hollowed out or carved out of huge rocks as artificial caves or temples. It means rocks were turned into lovely shrines with pillared halls and living rooms. An earliest cave constructed in 3rd century BCE on the orders of Ashoka was Barabar Cave in Bihar. It was constructed for renouncers belonging to Ajivika sect. Renouncers are those people who give up all possession and association with place, people, or materialistic life. But perhaps the highest achievement of the early Indian cave architecture during the period of Guptas was the Kailash Nath temple, built in 8th century at Ellora in Maharashtra. This 1200-year-old temple was carved out of a single piece of rock. Even the chief sculptor of this temple was amazed to see his own creation after completion. केव आर्किटेक्चर यानी चट्टानों या गुफाओं को काटकर बनाए मंदिरों या गुफाओं में सबसे सुंदर और विशाल है कैलाशनाथ मंदिर। ये 16 गुफाओं को मिलाकर बनाया गया है। ये भारतीय शिल्पकला का सबसे सुंदर और बेजोड़ उदाहरण है। Thousands of caves were excavated between 2nd century BCE to 10th century CE. Not only they belong to Hinduism, but also Buddhism and Jainism. The first monument of this kind was early rock cut temple, the Chaitya at Karle in Maharashtra. We also find many temples or sculptures depicting incarnation of Vishnu found in different parts of India. For example, you can see in this picture Krishna, incarnation of Vishnu, holding Govardhan hill. This sculpture has been found at Mamlapuram in Tamil Nadu. This picture shows incarnation of Vishnu as both called Varaha Avatar trying to rescue earth. Built in 6th century BCE, it is located in Aihole, Karnataka. Another sculpture found at Devgarh in Uttar Pradesh depicts Vishnu reclining on serpent called Sheshnag. This sculpture is of 5th century CE. European scholars who visited India during 19th century found sculptures of gods and goddesses for first time and couldn't understand their meaning. They were horrified to see the huge images and figures with multiple arms and heads, sometimes combination of human and animal forms. Scholars also compared the image with sculptures from ancient Greek, but they were excited to see image of Buddha and Bodhisattvas which were based on Greek model found in northwest like Takshila, Peshawar and Gandhar where Indo-Greek rulers had ruled during 2nd century BCE. As these images were quite similar to Greek statues, they were considered to be the best example of Indian architecture. Of course, the strategy followed by the scholars was familiar to unfamiliar. This statue of Buddha has been found in Gandhar. The building of statues of Buddha were based on two schools of arts. First was Gandhar and the second was Mathura. The school of art that developed at Mathura is called Mathura School of Art, and the school of art that developed at Gandhar is called Gandhar School of Art. Many times, scholars have come across the problem where few sculptures and statues don't find any mention in any textbook. Many of such sculptures have been found along a huge rock surface in Mahabalipuram in Tamil Nadu. The story of this sculpture is still not known. Through the Puranas, scholars have tried to identify it. Scholars are divided in their opinion regarding this sculpture. Some scholars feel that this sculpture shows descent of Ganga from heaven. The natural cleft or the center of rock surface might be representing the river, whereas other scholars feel that it is a story from Mahabharat showing Arjuna doing penance along river bank to acquire alms. ये फेमस स्कल्पचर महाबलीपुरम तमिलनाडु में लोकेटेड है। इस स्कल्पचर का वर्णन किसी ग्रंथ में ना होने के कारण स्कॉलर्स को इसकी कहानी का पता नहीं। फिर भी कुछ स्कॉलर्स का मानना है कि ये स्कल्पचर गंगा के धरती पर आने की कहानी को दर्शाता है, जबकि कुछ स्कॉलर्स के अकॉर्डिंग ये महाभारत से लिया एक सीन है जिसमें अर्जुन को हथियारों के लिए तपस्या करते हुए दिखाया गया है। So to conclude, we can say, despite all records of past, all architectural and sculptural success, there are still many rituals, beliefs and practices which were not recorded either as monuments or sculpture. So with this, we complete our topic. Thank you.